in the Eurozone and its governance, where it has lacked both a strong monetary authority in the form of the European Central Bank, which in my opinion and the opinion of others has been too legally and operationally constrained, but secondly, it has not had an effective fiscal governance. It has allowed its members to go different ways fiscally, storing up problems which have now been laid very starkly bare by the financial crash and its aftermath.
It is quite clear that the Germans believe the only way to make this thing work is to have a much closer political and fiscal union within the Eurozone. You accept that?
I think everyone is agreed, Germany and France and others agreed, that we need completely to recast the fiscal governance. There needs to be, and indeed the British government supports, a fiscally unified governance for the Eurozone, something that we haven't had in the past. Where the disagreement exists, as I mentioned before, is over the role of the monetary authority of the European Central Bank, where Germany, in my view, is in the wrong place, because I believe not only can Italy only be saved by the ECB making absolutely clear that it will be a lender of last resort, that we will, through the ECB, throw everything we have if the market panic spreads to Italy, and I think also a bank that would stand behind other members of the Eurozone that face similar problems in the future. If we don't do that, I don't think we'll get over the crisis, and if we don't do that, we won't be able to repair the original design flaws in the Eurozone.
There are 10 nations currently not in the Eurozone, within the European Union. Why doesn't Britain just aim to become the leader of that bloc?
Because it's declined to do so. You see, what Mrs. Merkel has done recently, she said to the Poles and she said to the British, well, you're out of the euro, some of you want to come in, some of you are waiting for the economic circumstances to do so, others of you, like Britain, say you don't ever want to come in. Her offer was a very, very important offer indeed. It was to say to the outs, as we are and the Poles and the others, we'll form a Euro Plus group supported by a Euro Plus pact, and we will allow you to sit at the table and take part in and share in the decision-making, the key economic decision-making that relates to the Eurozone. Now, the British government, for reasons I find it almost impossible to comprehend, said, no, thank you very much, we don't want to do that.
We are outside the Eurozone, and outside the Eurozone...
No. Not choosing to be outside the Eurozone, Jeremy, but choosing to be outside it and not showing up at those councils and bodies where the decision-making and economic discussions of the Eurozone are taking place. So we're doing two things. We're saying we're not coming into the Eurozone, and secondly, we don't want to be part of any Euro Plus pact or group because we don't want to have anything to do with your decision-making.
So you still believe we should join the Euro?
No, I think if we're not members of the Euro, and nobody's proposing that we should be...
Well, you were proposing we should be.
Indeed, I was arguing for
Indeed,
it.
But the economic... only a couple of years you claimed it had been a tremendous success.
Jeremy, this is a very important point.
It is an important point.
Not 10 years ago.
No, this isn't 10 years ago. This is 2 years ago when you said the euro had been a tremendous success and we could not stay out of it indefinitely.
Jeremy, I see absolutely no point in gloating at the fate of the euro or sort of with some sort of smugness saying, aren't we clever for not being in it? What concerns me now...
It's nothing to do with smugness, it's nothing to do with gloating. I'm merely pointing out to you that 2 years ago you said this had been a great success and we couldn't stay out of it indefinitely. Do you still think that?
And if and when the economic circumstances were right and Britain's advantage to go in, we should certainly consider doing so.
Now.
But in the meantime, no, not now, of course not now.
Sometime in the future, you still believe this now?
In the meantime, Jeremy, there are a whole set of questions for us and dilemmas facing Britain about our relationship to the European Union as the Eurozone becomes a tighter and more integrated bloc. And we've got to decide where we're going to stand and what we're going to do in those new circumstances and how we're going to deal with the dilemma that presents to us.
So when you said Britain cannot afford to say no to the euro indefinitely, it is Britain's national interest to go into it, you still believe that?
Jeremy, there is no proposition by me or anyone else that we should go into the euro.
Well, this was your proposition.
In whatever year you're quoting.
That was 2003, 2009. It is obviously the case Britain should join the single currency. 2009. It is obviously the case. It is perfectly clear the euro's been a great success.
Jeremy, we can play games like this and score points.
I'm not playing games.
Yes, you are playing games.
No, I'm suggesting to you that your judgment is flawed because you thought it was such a brilliant scheme.
Well, in what way then is my judgment flawed now when I say to you that if we do not maximise our influence within the European Union, we are going to become more and more detached from it, less able to influence its direction, and less able to stand up to our interests.
Why are you being so defeatist? Isn't this a fantastic opportunity for Britain to reshape Europe, having seen the Eurozone become a calamity?
Absolutely, there's a chance for Britain to exercise more influence. And I would say this to you too. Had we been in the euro, had we been members of the Eurozone...
Well, imagine the mess we'd be in then.
Let me make the point. We might have been able to avoid the mess that has resulted. Britain is very good...
What, on philanthropic grounds?
No, hold on a moment. Britain is very good in Europe in saying that proper rules, intelligently formulated, should be well applied and then enforced. We are very good in Europe. Let me make the point. We are very good in Europe at saying to our partners, look, this danger, that elephant trap is opening up. We've got to anticipate a whole series and set of different circumstances, and we have got to work together to avoid them.
If we had been in the euro, we'd be taking orders from Berlin now.
We weren't in the eurozone. We didn't exercise that influence. It is now a very big challenge for Britain, both to help Europe repair what has gone wrong in the Eurozone, but also to create a future and a direction for the European Union that is not just good for the whole of Europe, but good for Britain as well. And my fear is that the way in which we are conducting ourselves now in relation to the European Union, we're not only standing outside the Eurozone for reasons that are obvious to all of us, but we are in great danger of seeing those members of the Eurozone more tightly integrated, closely knit, taking their decisions in their interests on economic matters which are of fundamental importance to our economic future, with us being able to exercise hardly any influence or power or sway over that whatsoever. You tell me how that is in Britain's interest. It's certainly not.
Lord Mandelson, thank you.
Thank you.